My name is Boaz Barongo. I'm an ETS engineer. I started my journey in Safaricom, I think that was back in 2014, February, as an intern.
My name is Coletta Omingo. I joined Safaricom in 2016. At Safaricom, I work at the call center.
My name is Mercy Mugure. I serve as Customer Experience Executive at the Jumbo Call Center.
What really gets me off the bed is the fact that I know where I come to work is a place I wanted to be.
It's like my dream. I've wanted to work at Safaricom. Every day I used to even tell my mom, like, I just want to work to Safaricom, even if it will be what? I think they're doing a good job.
Safaricom is an environment where you just feel like any other employee. There is no, I've not encountered a situation where I would say I was discriminated on basis of my disability. So I've been comfortable.
18 or so years ago, 17 years ago, started with under 50 staff. We have now around 6,200 employees, out of whom we have 95 of us who are people living with disabilities. That would translate to about 1.7%.
I think the journey for diversity and inclusion began way back in 2001 when we onboarded the first person with disability. And in 2016, in July, we hit the 57 mark, which was representative of 1.2% of the entire workforce. And a year later, and we got to 78, which was 1.5% of the workforce. Today, as we sit, we are at 1.7%.
We start with our purpose as a company, which is transforming lives. And in transforming lives, there is that key commitment that we do not want to leave anybody behind. We have purposed within ourselves to say, what is the landscape of Kenya in terms of even the profile of people living with disabilities? Out of that, we've set a target of saying by the year 2020, we would want to have 5% of our workforce to be people living with one disability or the other.
So the first thing we've created is we exist as a family, and we encourage people to coexist as family members. The next thing we did is also to configure the physical setup for them as well, just to ensure that they are able to navigate, they can move around.
So you'll find there are ramps, there are pathways that are well marked without obstruction. The older lifts have been modified to have voice announcers. We've had to introduce braille buttons. We've had to modify the escape routes. But in the newer facilities, we actually cover this from design stage.
The seats, they are modified in a way that you don't strain so much. Even the software and the devices that you are using, like the computer, the monitors, they ensure that they have a large screen so that you can be able to see well. And also they consider you are able to fit into the correct schedule that you prefer so that you work comfortably.
I don't have to worry about transport. That's one thing, and it's key. So that one drives me to be a better person, to work for them, to give them a good productivity.
You know, if you have a family, it's covered in terms of medical, you don't have to stress for that. The wheelchair that I am right now, I got through the insurer. Who would you want to work for such a company, you know?
We've trained our people on unconscious bias, because the first thing you find somebody with a disability, you'll perhaps be saying, as a line manager, will this person be as productive as the other? And that for us is one of the things that we have said we need to conquer.
I really remember I have a disability because everyone treats me like any other staff member. And for a small team, I've been their team champion. So no one looks at Mercy with a disability. They see the potential in me, the leadership in me, and what I can offer.
Safaricom has got a free and transparent recruitment process. It is your ability and your qualifications that will make you stand out, and there are opportunities to grow. It is your initiative for you to move from one position to another.
It's up for you to take them. Like if you want to grow maybe in terms of career, they take you for trainings. There are trainings. You can go book an exam anywhere. They'll pay for it.
We also have PWD forums. These are persons with disability forums, where we give them an opportunity to come together to network and share ideas. We also have empowerment sessions that look into various areas of speciality, like, whether it's investment, whether it's family. We look at the entire wheel of life.
Our objective is to ensure that we're able to serve also the people living with disability and able to access our services in a safe and convenient manner. And M-PESA becomes at the heart of this. So whenever we develop products and services, we have to look at D&I and saying, are we covering the entire base? As TIC, that's what drives innovation, because when there's diversity and inclusion, then you get different views from different people, and we're able to actually leverage on that to transform lives.
Recently, we actually innovatively brought in technology that can help some of our persons living with disability be able to read their or know their M-PESA balance. Because they are blind, they can't read the text message we send back. Now they can listen and hear it. But you also realize, from the business point of view, we're giving them continuity of using this particular product with high level of trust. And in itself, we're making business.
We're also looking at how do we take work to people as opposed to people coming to work. So how do we leverage technology to make sure that we can allow people to not necessarily go through the traffic jam of Nairobi, but work and be productive from their homes. And out of that was an enabling environment where people would then discharge their duties in a productive manner.
Coming to our commitment as Safaricom on the SDG goals, SDG goal number 10, it talks about people living with disability, and we are focused on having at least 5% of our staff by 2020 are people with disability within our workforce, and they do bring a lot of benefit to the organization. They bring a lot of experience, and that will help us develop better products and services for the population at large. And this is key for us in how we transform lives in Kenya. And to me, D&I is the heartbeat of M-PESA, and that's what's going to make us successful in the future.
I think we could be a good model for other corporates in terms of creating a functional and accommodating, inclusive environment for people with disability. And I think by speaking more to the communities around us, it will also take out the stigma of how people perceive those with the disability, and you can actually, make environment even at home more comfortable.
The company has realized that indeed out there we are actually the only company perhaps in Kenya that can employ this big number of people and still perform. From the time Safaricom started hiring persons with disability, we have given revenue just the same way. Look at custom operations. We have delivered on our KPIs, even higher, even better, yet we have employed more PWDs.
Safaricom has given people with disability in Kenya, and especially staff now, to explore their dreams, to achieve their dreams, some things that we could not imagine that we could achieve. And that's why the transformation of lives comes from.
I'm looking forward to Safaricom that will have all the categories of disabilities. There are more than 20. When we get to that, for me, that is self-actualization for Safaricom. I'm looking for ways that this diversity and inclusion can go beyond the academic, to look at like the contractors.
Diversity and inclusion will continue to be a centerpiece in the way we operate. It speaks to our purpose, transforming lives and being inclusive. It's about reflecting the society we live in. It's also where we would want to start extending it beyond the industry and working with others and seeing whether we can also learn from them. We're also looking at gender as another piece, and we've called out to say our management, by the year 2020, we would want to be at 50-50 gender mix. For me, it is not a nice to have, it's a business imperative.